I do want to ask you this, Sam. So, growing up, where were you raised? What was it like, being Sam Martin, growing up as a kid? What kind of things did you have to overcome? And really, what inspired you to play football? Because I know a little bit of the story, and I know you didn't always play football. So can you enlighten some of the listeners here of kind of what that background is and your come up is?
Yeah, so just straight up, my family, I come from a soccer family. I have 2 older sisters. I was the youngest of 3. So I was the only boy, and I was the youngest. Talk about overcoming adversity right there. I started out right there, 2 older sisters. So I get going, and naturally I become a soccer player. It was a big family thing, and started playing at a very young age, and get to, I played basketball and baseball and soccer through middle school, and then high school I just was playing soccer and basketball. Pretty much made my mind up. I thought I was going to the NBA my whole life, and I realized, I got hit with reality pretty quick.
You thought you were going to the NBA? I mean, I've seen you shoot. You're not much better than me. Did I miss something?
He is so much better than you. We played horse the one time.
I thought you win when you get horse. Okay.
That was a little bit of a joke there.
I know. Go ahead. So you thought the NBA, and you said no. Go ahead.
My whole life I thought I wanted to go to the NBA, but soccer was always kind of my thing. So anyways, I played soccer at a pretty high level, a competitive level, all the way through high school. I had a bunch of offers as a junior in high school for soccer, and ended up actually committing. I was planning on playing soccer in college. The football team always had wanted me to come out and kick, because I was in a soccer background. I was like, you're crazy. So I go out there my senior year finally. I was committed to Georgia State at this time, so I decided, screw it, why not? Let's just go do this. So little small story within a story, actually. So I show up to my first day, and they give me a black jersey. The whole defense is in black jerseys, and I'm like, the hell is this? All right, I'll put it on there. I go out there, number 27. Sure enough, they got me lining up in the secondary trying to play safety. So what the hell is this? So it took about 3 practices for me to realize, hell no. I was like, I'm out. I'm either kicking or nothing. And so it turns out, I start kicking and kicking field goals, kicking off, and I start getting calls from colleges and big schools. A lot of the soccer schools are smaller schools, so I'm getting like Auburn, Georgia. I'm going to these visits to Ole Miss and stuff like that. And it's really eye-opening to me. I'm like, this is different. This is new. This is cool. It kind of lit a fire under me a little bit and kind of motivated me in a sense. And long story short, I ended up deciding on signing day, I bailed on soccer and took a leap of faith on this kicking thing, and then the rest is kind of history.
Wow. That's amazing.
And the school you chose, right? You went there. Were you the starter moment 1? How did that go down?
No. So that's a good question. So I go into Appalachian State, and I was actually the first kicker in school history that they scholarshiped at a high school. So I kind of came with a little hype. And App State's ends up being it's not UGA. It's not these schools I was visiting, but it was a school I liked, and they were the only ones that offered me a scholarship. The bigger schools were just offering me recruited walk-ons. So I said, let's give it a go. So I go up there as a kicker. It kind of made a big deal about that I'm going up there and I'm getting all that attention. So I go in there to camp, first camp, thinking, I go in there as a starter, thinking that I got this, and I laid an egg. I was terrible. I looked awful. I was barely getting kicks over the offensive line. It was bad. I was hitting every kickoff out of bounds. It was embarrassing, actually. The coaches were literally, I remember the coaches literally saying to me, what a waste of a scholarship. Like, what the hell, you're terrible. I remember like it was yesterday.
They said that to you, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. What a waste of an effing scholarship. You effing suck. Like, go back to Georgia.
I bet that lit a fire in the belly, right?
Yeah. I mean, it did. And, thinking about that even, like, at the time, you think about it, and it's like, that really, are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Okay. All right. Well, so it fucked me up a little bit. I went kind of into like a little bit of a shell, if you will. It was just like, I felt bad for myself. This isn't what's supposed to happen. This is bullshit. So the senior who ended up being the starter, I ended up being pretty good. I ended up being pretty good friends with, and he had a hell of a season. And meanwhile, I get redshirted. Or no, he wasn't a senior; he was a junior. I ended up getting redshirted that year, and I'm like, this sucks. Why the hell I came all up there to BFE North Carolina to kick footballs. I miss my family, blah, blah, blah. So long comes the short, he had a great season. So going to the next year, he's the starter. And I'm like, great, I'm not going to beat this guy. What the hell am I doing? But then through all that bullshit and all that comes an opportunity. And that's when the team sat me down. They said, learn how to punt. And so I said, all right, I'll give this punting a try. I never punted before in my life.
So as a sophomore in college, you decided to learn to punt.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. I thought you were a punter all along. I didn't realize you were. So when you were saying you were barely getting them over the line, you were kicking field goals?
Yeah. And I mean, really, there's more to that than just that. I wasn't that bad. I had been lifting weights like I've never lifted in my life. I didn't lift shit in high school, so they were breaking me and then expecting me to go kick field goals, which is a whole different story. But nonetheless, I was terrible. I was bad. I wasn't prepared, whatever you want to call it. And so I guess the obvious moral of the story there, is like, at the time it was like, holy shit, what the hell's happening? Why am I here? What I do, blah, blah. And through all that, through all the adversity, through all the bullshit, through all the depression, negativity, I want to quit, I want to leave, I want to transfer, blossom this opportunity that now, going into my 8th year in the NFL as a punter. It all stemmed from me sucking as a kicker.
Now, a quick word from our sponsors. So you had your back against the wall, felt like you had no options. They're telling you suck. You shouldn't have had the scholarship. This guy's out kicking you. You're having regrets. You're missing your family. You're in BFE, North Carolina. I know where Appalachian State is. I'm a fan. But then out of all that, you say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to learn to punt, and I'm going to be the best punter out here and earn my scholarship and be a starter.
Yep. I mean, that's how it went down. And I wasn't a great punter at first. That's for damn sure. It's actually kind of funny if you look at my college stats. I'm like sucky next year, kind of sucky. Third year, like kind of good, and then fourth year, elite. And then I get drafted. So it's like it definitely didn't happen overnight. It took some time to actually get it down and learn the craft and the art and everything with it. But it definitely was like, I was like, shit, I'm here now this far. I even thought about going back and walking onto the soccer team at that stage, just saying screw football. But at that point, I kind of made my mind up that, like, I'm going to at least give this a shot. So, yeah, it's just crazy. It's actually, even when I sit here and talk about it and like think back about it, it's pretty crazy.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, you think you're casted for one thing and you're supposed to do one thing in your life that you're pretty good at, and you're like, wow, I got this. And then you get your back to a wall and everybody telling you all the negative stuff, and you feeling that it becomes fuel, and you realize, look, that's not even my calling. I'm better here.
Yeah.
This is what a great way to adapt and change your whole entire map. I always talk about, on our show to the listeners, like, look, we write our own map, and here's Sam Martin that has a map, and all of a sudden it's got a dead end. And rather than quit and go backwards on that map, you damn opened up the book and wrote a new line and went down that route on the map. And as you're climbing uphill and getting better and better, here you are, successful, one of the elite punters in the NFL. I mean, that's a heck of a story of not only being motivated and overcoming things, but really taking direction and power into your own hands to be able to adjust what your future is. A lot of people struggle with, oh man, this is what I'm supposed to do. Or in sports, I've never played any pro sports, but I've coached kids, and I've had parents tell me my kid's a quarterback or my kid's this, and I can only imagine as they become elite athletes, they're stuck in one mindset. Julian Edelman comes to mind, plays quarterback in college and then converts over to receiver in the NFL. And here's Sam Martin that plays soccer his whole life, and then in high school says, hey, this is pretty cool, and starts kicking and is great, gets a scholarship. Doesn't work. They're complaining. You're not the best one. You're struggling. And then you just rewrit the script, dog. That's crazy. You just flipped it and said, here, this is going to be my future. So that's good stuff. John, what do you think about that?
No, that's great. I mean, how quick of a decision did you have to make? I mean, was kicking something that you quickly gave up on, or, I mean, did you continue to try kicking a little bit, or was it like?
That's a good question. That's a good question, because I ended up finishing my career doing all three: kicking field goals, punting, and kicking off. So
oh, wow.
I did about, like, I think a total of maybe 2 or 2.5 years doing all three, and then 4 years punting and kicking off. the 2 years my senior year they had a starter. So I went into my senior year. I did all three for all of my junior year, and then they had a kicker come in. At that point, I was starting to get a little bit of attention from the NFL, and it was as a punter. So they signed a kid our transfer came in who was pretty good field goal kicker. So he started the year as the field goal kicker. Things kind of went south, so then I picked it back up. So I finished my career doing all three there. So I didn't stop doing it. I still did it. I still did it a lot. But it was as soon as I kind of started blossoming as a punter, it kind of turned into, okay, I'm going to do this punter kickoff combo thing. Let me know if you need me to kick field goals type thing, like when if needed.
I love that story. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's cool. And, another thing, Jason, on your point that you were talking about, how back against the wall and stuff, but also, another thing when I look at that and like reflect on it and think about it is, when times are dark and shit's tough, it's always going to get better. Something's going to come out of it. It's not just learning from your lesson and doing better. It's also a sense of just relax, like just chill out, weather the storm. Something beautiful is going to come out of it.